Login accepted.
Hello, I think we can start. So, long time ago, when the web was easy, the whole communication between backend and frontend was form-based. We had a little bit of HTML, we had a little bit of CSS. Nobody expects from us complex CSS animations, and the JavaScript was used only to detect if user used Internet Explorer. That's all. And it was simple. Right now, if you want to build a complex app, you have to know a lot about JavaScript building processes and so on. We had to create a lot of mechanisms that allows us to develop very complex apps. So we had to find something for our dependencies. Some of you probably remember the times when we had to download the package manager just to download another package manager and so on. And it was so bad. A lot of people complains about frontend that it's too complicated right now, it's really hard to get into it, and everything is changing every 2 weeks in frontend, and that's true. And I'm going to show you that everything will change once again very soon, and it will be something awesome. So my name is Kamil Gałek. I'm a front-end developer at BigPicture. I'm the one who really enjoys configuring complex things, configuring build processes, and I always try to optimize everything because I don't want to wait for build so long. Maybe you think that I like to punish myself, but I'm going to show you that waiting a lot of time for build is a true punishment for your team members. So I'm going to prove you that future is today and Esbuild revolution is near. But just before we start, few rules. Please ask your questions after. I have a lot of things to say, and I want to be sure that I will stick in time that I have. And of course, as always, everything is on GitHub repository, so there is no need to take photos of my code, of slides, and everything. If you want anything from this presentation, everything is there. So, why we do need bundlers anyway? First of all, complexity. As I said before, it's one of the reasons. You cannot build a complex app in one file right now. Of course you can, but it's insane, and probably you won't force your devs to do it. And we have to create some solution to merge a lot of files into one file, into a few files that will manage itself. Second one, browsers. If you ever had to support Internet Explorer, you know what I mean. Yeah, we have to support a lot of browsers. Not every browser is modern one, and it's pain to supporting old browsers. So we created some kind of automatic process that process our files into something that works on old browsers. And the last one is minification. The most important one. A lot of developers take it bad. We don't minify our files to hide our code. It's possible to read it, it's possible to analyze it, it's just not working. So we minify our files to shrink the size. The idea is quite simple. The less files you have to send through wires, it will load a lot faster. So it's the basic technique for optimization in the web, and it's very important. And you can write complex app in one file. It's insane. You can write complex app in ES5. It's, again, insane. But you cannot minify it by hand. That's almost impossible. So, so let's ask some questions. Who want to have shorter builds? OK, not everybody. That's strange. You don't want to have shorter builds? Really? OK. How many of you use React? Because it's possible for you? OK. Again, not a lot. And again, that's strange because it's the most popular library right now. OK. So first fact about Esbuild, the new bundler. It is production ready. on their website, you'll find something like, we are not production ready, we are pretty stable, but that's not true. For me, something is production ready if you use it on production. And for example, Angular use Esbuild to optimize component styles. So a lot of people use it anyway on production. So second one is Snowpack. According to their website, Alibaba and Intel use Snowpack, and it's a really cool tool. So yeah, it is production ready. Last one is Vite. It's a very interesting tool that allows you to build a lot faster Vue.js apps. And I'm quite sure that somebody used this tool on production. So we can agree that it is production ready right now. But as always, talk is cheap. I'm going to show you how it works. So demo number 1. We are going through Node, generate on package JSON, and so on. OK, we have code here. I guess, yeah, it's readable. So let's start with package JSON. Of course, we have Webpack in version 5. We have React in version 17. We have, of course, Esbuild and Bubble. That's all we need to build React apps. And we have some scripts. And I have prepared a generator. So I don't have one app. We can generate app that huge as we want. So let's start with Node app, because it's simpler to build. So the generator just generate file, puts that simple function. It prints only a dot, because we don't need more complex app right now. And we are going to generate a lot of files that will be imported to one file, and we will build it and run it. For React, it's the same idea. It's here, and we are creating a component that prints a dot. That's all. But we can create a lot of components like this. OK, so we are going to start with Node. Node generate. And let's start with 10 modules. So we will generate only 10 files. And we are going to build it with Webpack as first. OK. Webpack and build. And probably it will be quite fast, because it's only 10 files. So it was done in 600 milliseconds, not a lot. It's still fast. But we are going to do the same build with Esbuild. And it's done below in 77 milliseconds. No, I'm sorry, 300. So it's only half of time, and it's only 10 files. We can check if it works. It should print 10 dots, and 10 dots it is. And we are going to do the same for React. So React generate 10 files. It's only 140 lines of code, and we are going to build it with Webpack. And you can guess that it will take a lot more time than building Node app. And yeah, 3 seconds. So let's do the same with Esbuild. And it's done again in 100 milliseconds. So 100 milliseconds versus 3 seconds. It's not a lot right now, because we have only 10 components. And of course, we can check if it works. Let me just type the command. And 10 dots. So our generator works. Right now we know the difference between build times for Webpack and Esbuild for really small apps. OK, let's go back to slides. And you have to know that I hate unrealistic examples. So 10 components, guys, who have 10 components app? Yeah, and small apps are never the problem of build time, because small apps just naturally build in acceptable time. And if anything works below 5 seconds, nobody cares, really. So we are going to simulate real-world apps. We are going to generate thousands of files, because it's easy. OK, so let's start with Node again. The same command, but we will generate, for example, 1,000 files. It's still not a lot, but it should show you the difference between Webpack and Esbuild. So let's start with Webpack, of course. I don't know how long it will take. I guess that it will something, 3 seconds, not bad. So let's build it with Esbuild. And it's done in something below 200 milliseconds. We are going to generate a lot more, so 10,000 files. Of course, it will generate in, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds right now, so we have to wait. Okay, 9,000. And okay. So this time we will build it with Esbuild first. And it's done in 3 seconds, 3.5. The same thing for Webpack. And now we wait in silence. So I don't know, maybe half a minute and it's not done. And I'm not sure if it ends in 2 minutes, so I just process. So we cannot right now present the app for, oh, okay, half a minute. Yeah. So 3 seconds versus half a minute. The same thing for React, but we'll not try to build that huge app. It will take a long time. So generate -c, let's say 5,000 components. It should generate in a few seconds, and we are not going for a bigger app because it will, with Webpack, probably it will not end today. Okay, so 60,000 lines of code. Not a lot, but it's average small app. And we are going to build with Esbuild as first. Build, yeah. And probably in 3 seconds it should be done. Yeah, something below 3 seconds. The same thing for Webpack. And again, I probably try to kill the process in half a minute. Waiting on presentation is the probably worst thing that you can do during the presentations, so will work. We'll wait for it, and yeah. I'm going to kill it, and I'm going to clear it. And let's try with 1,000 components. So we are not able to build right now 5,000. Maybe 1,000 will be okay. But we'll build it later. Let's go for slides. So this was my first reaction when I found how fast Esbuild is, and it works. So we have to compare the results. We have to count how many times it is faster. And because we have generated apps, okay, so we are going to start with React. I have command for it. It will run the process that just run the 2 commands, measure time, and compare it. So we'll know how many times Esbuild is faster than Webpack. So right now we are building the whole thing with Webpack. Probably it will take something about 1 minute. Okay, 20 seconds. And Esbuild was almost 10 times faster. We are not talking about faster by 10%, few percent. It's still good to have a build that is faster by, I don't know, 10%. But it is almost 10 times faster. And the same thing for Node. As you remember, we have 10,000 components. So we are going to compare it for Node. And probably it should be about, 10 times faster. And it really depends on the device you run, because I have prepared some results on my home PC, and you'll see that the difference is bigger if you have device that is not a laptop. Okay, so yeah, it was only 3 times faster, but it's still good. And let's go for official benchmarks first. That's strange. OK. So official benchmarks. We can compare our results to official benchmarks, and Esbuild is that fast. Of course, it's probably an extreme example or something, but yeah, it is impressive. By the way, Webpack 4 is way faster than Webpack 5. So consider moving to Webpack 5, because probably it's not worth it. And my results. As I said, I have prepared some tests that was quite time-consuming on my home PC. For example, for Node, for components from 100 to 2000, the time of Esbuild looks like constant. And for Node, it was like linear function. So it's not that bad, because we can predict how long it will take in our production app. But for React, that build time for Webpack is like an exponential function. And I think that I don't need to explain why it's bad. I was not sure if that Esbuild is constant, so I tried to do one more test. And this is the diagram for components from 100 to 10,000. And as you see, it's linear. On my home PC, it was able to build that big app. So 10,000 components below 1 second. And we have tools. We can generate anything we want. And I thought that we can generate 100,000 components. App that big probably not exists right now. So I thought that it will be something interesting. So after long time of generation, because it's not that easy to create 100,000 files, it was able to build in 4 seconds on my home PC. 4 seconds. For example, the same setup with Webpack was able to build about 400 components only. And is it possible to run so huge app? Because we build it, we have this for it, we can try to do it. And interesting fact, you're not able to do it. JavaScript have a limit for arguments in function. You can pass only 65,000 arguments in function. That's interesting. So we are not ready for that huge app. And doesn't end, because we should be able to build 15,000 components app. And we are not, because the JavaScript stack probably will blow out. And it's possible to build 25,000 component apps right now. The exact number, I tried to find it. It's something between 35 and 40,000 components. It's a lot. Nobody have apps that big. But it is interesting. And I'm not crazy, I'm quite sure. I was not tested, but if you have generator, you just try to do crazy things. So 25,000 component app that works. I was able to build it in 1 second, and I tried it to do it with Webpack. And after 10 minutes, I resigned, because I thought that it will never end. So we'll never find out how long it takes to build that huge app with Webpack right now. OK, how it is possible to be so fast right now? Because it's strange that something is 10 times faster. So first of all, Esbuild is written in Go instead of JavaScript. It's not the only reason, but it's one of the main reasons. Go is a language that compiles into machine code, and it has to be faster than JavaScript. It's natural. It's like C language code. It has to be fast. It has to be fast. And it allows us to compile files in parallel. You cannot do this on JavaScript. JavaScript has only one thread, and yeah, it is fast. OK, but why now? Why nobody tried to create Webpack in Go a long time ago? Go is available for many years right now, and why now? And answer is quite simple. We just love JavaScript. That's all. We had to create something that works. We had to solve our problems. And we created something in the language we know. And that's all. And it's nothing bad. Right now, you can treat Webpack as a proof of concept. We know right now that we need something that will compile JavaScript files, that will bundle it, and we can create something in right language. Okay, where you can use it. First of all, of course, Node.js and React. Second of all, Vue.js and Svelte. It just works. It's quite simple to configure. I will show you how to do it. And many, many other things. Just try to Google it. It probably works. And there's Angular case. I am an Angular developer myself, and this is such story. Somebody asked them if they have plans to move from Webpack to Esbuild, and they say no. But it's quite old thread, so there's hope. Even one developer from Poland, Marcin, tried to do it by himself, and with success for a really simple app. I've contacted him. We tried to move to Esbuild, more complex app, and we failed. We agreed at the end that we have to wait for a move from Angular team, and it's not that easy to mess with Angular build configuration because they encapsulated everything in their Angular CLI code, and it's quite hard to modify. Okay, so is the Esbuild hard to configure? And I'm going to show you. So let's start with Node, of course. So Webpack config looks pretty standard, I think. So we are going to make it smaller. We have one rule for JS files. We have test plugin for minification, and that's all. It's quite standard. For Esbuild, it looks pretty the same, but it's shorter. So we have to configure if we want to minify something. We have to configure a platform, and that's interesting because right now you can configure your build for Node, for Node.js, for browser, because there is a difference between Node and browser, and neutral. And it should work in both Node and browser. But it's not working in neutral, by the way. So that easy. You have to specify format of your modules. Right now, available modules are IIFE, CommonJS, and ASNext modules. And that's all. It's that simple. For React, Webpack config looks almost the same like for Node, but we test for JSX files. We had to add this bubble plugin for React, and yeah, it's working, and it's quite simple to configure. And for Esbuild, the same. Platform is changed, but almost the same. And that's all. So let's go back to slides. And is it hard to configure? I don't think so. But it's always good to know what you're doing, because probably you'll save a lot of time trying to understand how it works. And I suggest you to try find some information about module types, because this subject is quite important. So, roadmap for Esbuild. We are waiting. Oh, come on. We are waiting for code splitting. It's not available yet. So I suggest you not to try configure it for very huge app, because you trade your optimization, you trade your page load time. And the second one we are waiting for is lowering to ES5. If you have to support Internet Explorer, please don't, but you cannot use Esbuild right now. Of course, you can bypass the whole thing, just trying to pipe the code from Esbuild through the bubble, but it's not fast, and it's not worth to try it. So if you have to support Internet Explorer, you cannot use Esbuild. Try to change the thing, so try to convince your users not to use Internet Explorer. It's the easiest way of solving Internet Explorer bugs. Where you can get help about configuring, about trying to do uncommon stuff with it. So these two links, and in my opinion, the easiest way to find help about Esbuild is just try to leave an issue on GitHub, and there is a quite huge community around the whole subject of Esbuild. And probably somebody will tell you to what you have to do to make it working. And one more thing. I want to show you other projects that are worth to follow, because Esbuild is not the only thing that is worth to check. First of all, I mentioned Snowpack. It's quite fine technology. You'll find it here. Second one is SWC. And it's the same thing that Esbuild, but it's written in Rust. And it's comparable fast. In some cases, it's even faster. And we don't know who will win the race for next generation bundler. So maybe it will be SWC, maybe it will be Esbuild, or maybe it will be something that is not written yet. And it's worth to follow these both technologies. In my opinion, in some cases, SWC is even simpler to configure than Esbuild. So if Esbuild is not working for you, try SWC. And you'll find it here, of course. The last one is mentioned Vite. It's an interesting tool. They started as building toolset for Vue.js. And right now, they can build for you Svelte. They can build for you React. And if you don't want to configure anything by yourself, just try to use Vite. If you start new app in React, use Vite. It's a really fine tool. And you'll find it here. OK. I have a lot of time, and it's quite near. So why I think that the future is now? Because in every front-end revolution was one good reason to do it. Whoa! OK. So we want to work in a comfortable environment. Before jQuery, nobody wanted to use JavaScript. It was hard. It was in ECMAScript, I don't know, maybe 3 or something. Right now, we probably use a lot of jQuery plugins. It was a big revolution for us. So after jQuery, we could create JavaScript in a very comfortable way. But after that, apps become more and more complex. And we had to create something that allows us to manage complex app in a more comfortable way than jQuery, because jQuery, as we know, is quite messy. So we created MVC frameworks. Every framework in the time was somehow MVC. I don't know why, but it was. And after that, we created a lot of cool apps, very complex ones. And again, our comfort was the most important reason to do the revolution. Right now we have components, same reason. It is easier to write components apps, so we want to create that apps. It's just comfortable for us. So I'm sure that something will replace Webpack, and I think that we proved that today, that we have Esbuild. Right now it's usable, and maybe it will be the future Webpack. And of course, it's not the end. Because someday, something probably will push the Esbuild as legacy, and will create something way cooler than Esbuild. So frontend is changing every 2 weeks. We have to follow it. We have to live using the new tools. And yeah, Esbuild is quite fine technology. It's worth to change. And I think it will change the frontend in 1 year, I think. After this 1 year, nobody probably will use Webpack for new things. It's not worth to wait for builds at that long time. So my predictions for nearest future. I'm sure that everything is going to be fantastic in front-end world. We'll still try to change everything in 2 weeks because we like to do it. And that's all. As I said, it was quite fast presentation, I think. So if you have any questions, we have a lot of time. I probably can answer a lot of them. So do you have any questions? Yeah? Okay. 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 So right now in Esbuild, plugin API is in preparation. We have a little bit of it. It's working. Few final plugins right now are working for some of us. So for example, we use it for Cypress tests. We compile the TypeScript into JavaScript. It works. And yeah, it's we have to wait for a lot of cool plugins. We have, I don't know, I'm not sure how many years we have Webpack right now. So there's a lot of cool things, and I think that Webpack is trying to do a lot of things, but it shouldn't. So is it necessary to pack HTML with Webpack? We can do it by using just code. So I'm not sure if including script, src, and our chunk is important, but yeah, right now we are waiting for plugins. And you can write your own. There is that possibility, but right now it's like a proof of concept for Esbuild. By the way, you cannot compile styles that easy. So if you use React, please try to use CSS in JS, for example, or try to rethink all your whole app, your whole build process. Sometimes it's easier to move CSS, separate CSS from the components. It's working. It was designed to work like that. So CSS encapsulated in components is something unusual for CSS. And you can try to fix it, and after that you have quite fast builds. At BigPicture, our build process is quite complicated. We have 3 or 4 parts. So we are building styles. After that, we are building our TypeScripts. Following, we build HTML files, and after that, we copy and inject everything in the place it should work. So it is fast, but it is not simple for everybody. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Okay. I'm not sure. I've tried to. Yeah. Okay. So I tried to use Esbuild with Express, and it works. And I'm not sure how it will behave with decorators from TypeScript. So we should try to do it. And okay, it will work if there is no strange workaround in build process in Nest. Yeah. So Angular is not working with TypeScript because they created NGC. That is one whole workaround, and we use TypeScript, but it's not compiled like that standard TypeScript. Yeah, it's just a workaround, and it's the problem. They have to rewrite everything, every piece of NGC into something else, but they just ended to do it. So yeah, we'll probably have to wait. I guess 2 years for Angular. It's the possible time of migration. Okay. Any other questions? So, who wants to have shorter builds right now? It's that simple. Just change your config files. Nobody? Guys, come on. Don't waste your time fly for builds, yeah? Okay, so thank you very much. It was quite short speech, so thank you.